This Codenation volunteer training video goes over the lesson internalization and preparation for our fellowship lead teachers. If you are an Intro to Web Development teacher, there's a different video for you. In this video, volunteer coders will prepare for lead teaching by internalizing the lesson and updating the class agenda. We know that our curriculum has a lot of parts, which is sometimes hard to manage when you're lead teaching. This video will go over all the steps you need to make sure you don't forget anything. Every class, you'll need to prepare the following materials: the lesson slides on GitHub, the class agenda, a do now, exercise, and homework from Replit. These are the steps you'll need to take in order to prepare the lesson. We'll go over all of them in detail in this video. The first step is to start with the homework in Replit. You should click into last week's homework so you can input grades for students in the tracker. Your student tracker will be a Google Sheet that your program manager has sent out to you. In the Homework tab, you'll see all of the students listed and every homework. In order to input grades for the students in the tracker, you'll check the Replit and you'll give them the following points. If you see under all submissions that it says marked complete, you'll record that the student has received 2 points or full credit. If you see that it says awaiting help, you'll give the student 1 point. That means that the student was not able to pass all of the Replit tests before they turned in the assignment. If you see that the assignment was received late, you'll give the student 1 point, whether or not it was marked complete or awaiting help. And if you see that there was no activity, that means the student did not submit anything, and you'll give them 0 points. Note that if under all submissions it says awaiting resubmission, that means that you already returned feedback to the student, which we'll go over later. Make sure that you input grades first, or this may lead to confusion. Once you've inputted grades, you should click into each student's individual assignment. There, you'll give feedback and send that back to the student, saying something they did well and something that they might need to change, especially if they were awaiting help. Note any misconceptions that multiple students have so you can go over it during the lesson. And make sure to click send back or the student will not be able to read your comments. Then you'll click into and schedule this week's homework to be posted with the appropriate due date. You'll see that you'll put the due date, which should be about 4 days before your next class, and then you'll click the next button, and then you can click post. Step 2 is to find this week's slides and make a copy of them. You should go to our GitHub, which you should have bookmarked, and go into the session that you're looking for, which would be the unit and the lesson number. Then you'll click into the slides and make a copy of this week's slides to put them in your team folder on Google Drive. Your team folder will have been created by your program manager, and it will give all of the teachers permission to edit the slides. Next, you should read through the slides and make adjustments. So you'll first read through the teacher prep slides, which you'll see below will have information for you as a teacher. Then you should read through the slides that you'll present to the students. Make any adjustments that you need for your class using data from the homework and last week's class. You may want to add review slides or change activities to make it more relevant to your class. Finally, you should delete the teacher prep slides before class. Next, you should click back into Replit so you can look at the Replit exercises for this week. Usually, there will be 2 exercises, the do now and the exercise which has the guided and independent practices in them. You should complete both of them by clicking Student Preview to avoid changing the starter code before publishing. Then you should publish the 2 Replits, making sure that you have not already written the answer. Now you'll have to go to the agenda. The agenda will have a bit.ly link that's created by your PM, and you'll want to bookmark this because you'll need to go to this every week. In order to update the agenda, you'll need to create a new section for the week. You can do this by copying and pasting the previous week's session. You'll update the goals and the announcements and add a link to the slides that you've just edited. Make sure you're also adding links to any starter code or planning documents that are needed for the week. This may be stated in the teacher preparation slides. Now you'll need to let everyone know that the lesson is ready. At least 24 hours before class, you should copy the agenda that you've created into an email and send it to all students and teachers. Then you should post a Slack to your team that includes the following information, which includes the goals of the lesson, the slides, the parts that you think will be difficult for students, what you need help for when you're lead teaching, and a note about homework. And lastly, you should make sure to print any materials that need to be printed, make sure that you have the reference tables and name tents, check that snacks are available for students, and be in the conference room 15 minutes before class in order to connect your computer and be ready to welcome students to class. If you have any questions about any of this preparation, you should speak to your PM who can help you with anything.